In November 2022, the sense of peace in a small, tight-knit community was about to be irrevocably broken. The quiet college town of Moscow, Idaho, a place known for its serene atmosphere and close community bonds, was shattered. The tranquility was ripped apart by the brutal murders of 4 University of Idaho students, Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogan, Zana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. Their lives were tragically cut short in a crime that would shock the nation. The killings left the community in shock, a wave of disbelief and grief washing over the residents of Moscow. With no immediate suspect identified, fear began to mount, casting a long shadow over the town as residents grappled with uncertainty and the chilling reality of the crime. After weeks of intense investigation, law enforcement worked tirelessly, sifting through evidence and following leads in pursuit of justice for the victims and their families. Police arrested Bryan Kohberger, a name that would soon become synonymous with the horrific crime. Kohberger, a 28-year-old criminology PhD student from nearby Washington State University, was taken into custody, a development that sent shockwaves through both university communities. Kohberger was charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of burglary, the gravity of the charges reflecting the brutality of the crime. The prosecution presented evidence including DNA found on a knife sheath discovered at the scene, along with cell phone data placing him in the vicinity and surveillance footage that seemed to corroborate the timeline of events. Despite the mounting evidence against him, Kohberger pleaded not guilty, setting the stage for a complex and highly scrutinized legal battle. His defense hinted at an alibi, suggesting that Kohberger was elsewhere at the time of the murders, adding another layer of intrigue to the case. The nation watched with bated breath, expecting a dramatic trial that promised to finally reveal the truth behind the horrific crime and provide closure to the grieving families and community. But the case, already filled with twists and turns, would soon take an unexpected turn, leaving everyone wondering what would happen next. Just as the trial was rapidly approaching, with preparations in full swing and anticipation building, news broke unexpectedly that Kohberger had reached a plea deal with prosecutors, a development that sent shockwaves through the legal community and beyond. This agreement, negotiated with prosecutors, represented a significant turning point in the case. In exchange for pleading guilty to all of the charges against him, thus avoiding a lengthy and potentially grueling trial, the possibility of the death penalty, a punishment that loomed large over the proceedings, was officially taken off the table. Instead of facing potential execution, Kohberger will receive 4 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole, ensuring he will spend the remainder of his life in prison, plus an additional 10 years for the burglary charge associated with the crime. This deal, carefully negotiated and reached behind closed doors in private meetings, means that there will be no public trial, a prospect many had braced themselves for, but instead, only a sentencing hearing will take place. The plea agreement, while controversial, spares the families of the victims the agonizing ordeal of reliving the horrific details of the crime in a public court. But it also ultimately denies them the opportunity to hear all the answers that a full trial might have potentially provided through evidence and testimony. The formal hearing to officially formalize the plea agreement, making it legally binding, is currently scheduled for late July, marking what appears to be the end of this long and arduous legal battle. For many within the community, this abrupt resolution to the case is both a profound relief, bringing a sense of closure, and simultaneously a new source of pain and frustration. The community is now left to grapple with the complex consequences of this decision and its lasting impact. The victims' families, especially Kaylee Goncalves', have voiced profound outrage and deep disappointment at the plea deal. The sudden turn of events has left them reeling, struggling to reconcile the legal outcome with their pursuit of justice. They feel betrayed by prosecutors, a sentiment fueled by the belief that their voices were not adequately heard or considered during the negotiation process, believing the deal was made without their true input, leaving them feeling marginalized and disregarded in a case that directly impacts their lives. The lack of transparency has only deepened their sense of frustration and injustice, and robbed them of justice, a justice they feel they rightfully deserve after enduring unimaginable pain and loss. Steve Goncalves, Kaylee's father, called the agreement a ridiculous joke, a scathing indictment of a system he believes has failed his daughter and his family, insisting the death penalty should have remained an option. a potential punishment that he believed was commensurate with the heinousness of the crime. The Kernodle family echoed this anger, saying they were prepared to endure a trial regardless of its emotional toll, for the sake of truth and a full accounting of the events that led to their daughter's death. For these families, a public trial was about more than punishment. It was about having their voices heard, ensuring that the full story was told, and holding the perpetrator accountable in the most public and transparent manner possible. The plea deal, in their eyes, is a compromise that serves the system, prioritizing efficiency and closure over the pursuit of complete justice for the victims and their loved ones. Their heartbreak highlights the deep conflict, the inherent tension between the legal system's need for expediency, between legal efficiency, and the fundamental need for public accountability and the pursuit of justice, regardless of the time and resources required. Many feel the case has ended prematurely, leaving many with more questions than answers and a lingering sense of dissatisfaction. Plea deals are common in the U.S. justice system, offering certainty for prosecutors and a lesser sentence for defendants. For prosecutors, a plea guarantees conviction and avoids the risks of a trial, where evidence could be challenged or a jury might not convict. For Kohberger, pleading guilty spared him the death penalty. Plea deals also save time and money and emotional strain for all involved. However, they often leave families feeling justice was not fully served, as the evidence is never publicly tested. Critics argue that such deals can obscure the truth and deny victims' families their day in court. The anger of the Goncalves and Kernodle families underscores this tension. The justice system's need for resolution can clash painfully with the need for closure. The plea deal now awaits the judge's approval at the upcoming hearing. The judge will ensure Kohberger understands the consequences and is pleading voluntarily. If accepted, Kohberger will be sentenced to life in prison without parole, plus 10 years for burglary. The families will have a chance to speak at sentencing, sharing the impact of their loss. While the plea brings legal closure, it cannot erase the pain or answer every question. The case leaves a legacy of heartbreak, debate, and unresolved grief. It's a stark reminder of the limits of the justice system in the face of tragedy. For the community and the nation, the search for meaning and justice continues.